Losers. Everyone's a loser. The Jersey Juice has run out. The Eagles lost. Cowboys blown out. The Commanders, surprisingly the closest game. This is the Beast of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. Jeremy Goode, what's good, man? Because it doesn't seem like there's anything really good going on in the NFC East this week.
Yeah, I guess it's good. I mean, as someone who's also rooting against every team in the division, in some ways it's good, but it's all bad ultimately. Just bad 4 games. Not sure how often this has happened. We're all 4, but
I don't think this is definitely the first time this year.
Right, buys.
Yeah.
So it's as bad as it gets from a division standpoint.
Yeah, more like the NFC Least, bringing that back, huh?
Yeah.
But hey, I believe the Commanders are now officially eliminated, right? Or
I would assume so.
Yeah.
They don't have many wins.
Yeah, the Jersey Juice has run out, which is why I'm drinking eggnog, some coagulated eggnog and bourbon, because let's be real, I'm spiking it. This S stands for Santa. It stands for Sean. It stands for spiking it, because the Giants season, I mean, it was over. We were riding the Jersey Juice. Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but also the way that we lost was so miserable that, like, you got to drink a little bit.
But to be funny, but also to be serious, that's the reason why they're just a bad team. That, you see, they play some bad offenses. They win by a few points. Not pretty, 13-10, 10-7, 16-10. And then you go to a game and you're like, we can win this game. The Saints aren't good. And you get smacked. And that part is just not fun, to be in that
getting kind of situation. Smacked by a bad team is just that's just honestly, I would have taken a loss in a good game, but there was literally nothing redeeming about this game. So I think we should just get into it. Anything you want to say before we start getting into the games?
No, let's start.
Football Giants. All right, so Tommy DeVito was accompanied by his agent Sean Stiletto, who looked like a leprechaun. That's a quote from Jonathan Vilma, who was announcing the game, but that was just his jacket for the Italian Football Hall of Fame. The Giants lose 6-24. Don't score a touchdown. Fat Randy, who is the champion, the game winner last week, pulls his hammy, just kicking off after getting a nice field goal, and luckily Jamie Gillian could kick as well. Our punter, the Scottish Hammer, kept us from looking as bad. But I mean, 6-24. It's 3-24.
We started off with a 3-0 lead, right?
We did. Yeah. And the thing is, also we went into half 6-7. So at least, as miserable and as awful as this game was,
yes,
you felt like you were in it for the half.
That's right.
For a half, and then it just, this is just as forgettable as a game. I think the only things to highlight, this is a game you throw out, you throw away the tape, you bury it, you don't mention it. The last time we played the Saints, legendary. I could talk about that one. It stays in your mind. This is a game that you want to forget. It's the day that the Jersey Juice died. Well, who knows? Christmas is coming up. We have a pretty easy matchup against the Eagles, so maybe Jersey Juice will be brought back to life. But it hurt so much that Tommy DeVito was sacked 7 times, and within the first quarter, the Saints started doing the frickin' Paisan. They started that hurt so bad. I was clipping all the graphics for this, and there's 30 pictures of Saints players doing this, not one Giants, because we didn't do anything worth getting a freaking TD. We didn't get a freaking TD, dude. We didn't get the Tommy. It was bad. Saquon Barkley could not move the ball. The offensive line was as abysmal as it's been. Justin Pugh probably played his worst game ever as a offensive lineman in the NFL, or just an offensive lineman probably in his career. Dating back to Mudhogs, the early days. Saquon Barkley carried the ball 9 times. I don't know. I'm sure you've already seen this, but do you know what his average was? Do you know what his average was?
1.2 maybe.
1.6.
Okay.
Yeah. Tommy DeVito actually was pretty good with his legs again this game.
He moved. Yeah.
Yeah. Darren Waller Darren Waller looked good coming back. I know, it kind of sucks. We've missed him for the season. This is already a lost season at this point. I do still want to watch Darren Waller on Sundays. He's exciting to watch. I hope. I mean, we have him under contract next year. He should be back. I mean, honestly, and he had a couple of plays left on the field that Tommy DeVito didn't hit. It just like people that are asking me, do you think Tommy DeVito is the future? No. During this hype, no. It was never, dude. Anybody who's saying that is a delulu. They're delusional Delilah, dude. It's not. It was never a thing. Jalen Hyatt didn't get a freaking reception. Wan'Dale Robinson, after his huge game, did pretty much nothing. Like I said, Saquon, there's nothing redeemable up to this offense. Oh, freaking, we had a collective 190 yards between Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor passing. It was just throughout the tape. We had one sack on a design Jason Pinnock sack, but I can get into that too. Derek Carr has looked awful for the Saints. I know that I too was optimistic that maybe he could be rejuvenated, not being underneath Josh McDaniels. Not that Dennis Allen is any more hopeful, but Derek Carr, throughout his career, it's known he sucks under pressure. Wink Martindale is one of the heaviest blitzing defensive coordinators. He was doing soft zones, not even the man stuff that we're used to him seeing. Soft zones throughout the whole game, just letting all that easy underneath quick slants with guys like Rashid Shaheed eating over there, Juwan Johnson. And we only got one sack on a design Jason Pinnock sack. We were not rushing the passer. We were not blitzing. We were not being aggressive, which was, I mean, that was the game plan from anybody who just knows how the Saints operate, how Derek Carr operates. And knowing the Giants, I assumed it would be a day of feasting on the
defense. Your strength, absolutely.
And I feel like Wink Martindale, I don't know what. And the thing, we were 7-6 at halftime. No adjustments were made at halftime. It doesn't make sense to me. It just seems lost on me. I'll let you take it away. I think I've ranted enough for this.
Yeah, it's well, you really did nail it. And the thing that I wanted to mention about this Giants team, it's just offensively they are awful. And I want to pick my words carefully because I know the Eagles are playing them next week, so I don't want the Eagles to make them superstars. But yeah, I mean, you said offensively they're very, very bad in ways which I don't think they should. Well, I don't know. It's
Saquon Barkley, by the way, is missing from I usually have him
I know.
Over here.
Yes.
I just have far-fetched because the Giants' hopes of making the playoffs was far-fetched. And Saquon was missing from this game, even though he played. Continue. I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, I think I want to see Darren Waller play more because this was a guy who was really, really good a few years ago in Oakland, and I can say that because he actually was in Oakland with the Raiders. He had some injuries later on with the Raiders. Then he comes to New York, also has injuries for a lot this year. Used to be a really, really good tight end. I want to know what's going on with him, see what the future could be going on there because he's a nice threat when healthy. I just don't know how healthy he'll be or what his best is even when he is healthy. Yeah, it's tough. It's just tough to not have a real quarterback in there. I think Saquon overall this year has stayed healthy decently. I mean, I'm sure he's been beat up enough where
he missed 2 games.
Right. And I spent his body at the end of the year. He'll need to take it easy for the next month just to get back to normal. And I get that next month or two. I think he's lost his spec. I don't want to overuse.
He hasn't had explosive runs all season.
I think that what he is now, as a running back, is just not what you saw early on in his career. And you understand that you can't blame him for that. I think it's a shame because that's what makes an offense special when you have a running back like that who is iconically explosive when he breaks through the first line of defense. And he gets the speed going. DeVito's not very good. It's tough to have a guy like Jalen Hyatt because you're not getting the ball out to him quickly. He's not that kind of receiver, so you have to rely on him downfield.
Mhm.
There's a
I
lot.
will say he was targeted in some quick stuff, but he's not good at, like, that was one of his faults coming out. That's why he fell to the third round. Some people had him in the first because of his explosive play, Blitnikoff winner. But he didn't really have that. He was a gadget, not a gadget, a designed like deep threat, just run
Yeah.
past. And for this, so he's trying to get that quick game, but he's still a very thin receiver.
Yes.
And like he had a couple of slants that he dropped and outs and like in this game too, where it's like he couldn't hold on to the ball. I mean, it hit him in the hands, but he's getting, he was getting, tackled as he's catching it, and I think that lack of physicality kind of shows up.
Yeah, he'll have to
You want to see improvement on.
If he wants to be more versatile, if he wants to really be a imposing receiver in the NFL, he'll have to learn to mix it up too, because it's too tough just to be running straight down the field every other play and to rely on a quarterback who doesn't have the arm strength, doesn't really have enough accuracy. It doesn't have the experience either in the NFL to do it. So it's going to be tough there.
And on top of that, the Giants now are the most sacked team in the NFL this year.
Yes.
Remember we were talking about Sam Howell breaking
Yep,
up his
they outbeat Washington, right? So
seven sacks this game, like, which not all of them. I feel like in the earlier games, Tommy DeVito was sacking himself, and dude, Justin Pugh, like I alluded to earlier, awful. Like he was a turnstile. Like most of this game.
I think it shows that. I think it's a good thing for the Giants if they're smart, because I think it shows to say we have to do a better job at protecting the quarterback, and we have to either spend money on proven guys or draft smarter and or draft the same way we've been drafting, but do a better job developing.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I'm sure I've talked about it, but Bobby Johnson came over from the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Johnson, while he was the O-line coach for the Bills, he was responsible for who was like the big one that came. Was it? There was a couple of linemen
from the
that
Bills?
Were high draft picks on the Bills that when they got traded to other teams, they became superstars. Bobby Johnson didn't develop people. Tyree Phillips goes to the Eagles for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the season, we claim him off your practice squad, and he looks better than he ever has been.
Yep.
Like he hasn't developed any and Andrew Thomas was developed prior to Bobby Johnson as well. It's just, and the whole we were rotating our offensive linemen mid game, which we still have been doing. Like Mark Lewinsky's been finding his way into the lineup.
Yeah.
Randomly. It doesn't no other team does that, and I think there's a reason why. We're not meshing. There's no congruity with this team. We've had so many different configurations on this O-line this year, but the fact that we were even mixing it up in preseason training camps, and that would seem like a part of our game plan, it just makes no sense to me.
Hey, that might be the unit that needs the most consistency because of communication. If you have guys who are on the same wavelength, whatever, and who can communicate, they don't have to be the 5 best guys. You'll have enough decent play if you have that consistency among left tackle through down to right tackle. And
I agree.
So, and just to cap off the Giants game against the Saints, I think defensively they're still a goodish unit, but not what they were last year and not what they were earlier on this year, besides against teams like Dallas.
Well, the past few games we've been fucking phenomenal. Turnovers.
Sure.
That's not the reason why we're I think we had I think we averaged 3 turnovers over the past.
Yeah, I mean more even if we weren't I think more imposing your will. I think you've been. There's been a lot of times where you played, to be honest, some pretty brutal offenses. So they've definitely done the job. But I feel like last year defensively, there was nothing special. There was nothing big play about the offense. I think the defense was the big shiner for that team last year. And I think earlier this year, even when the Giants were losing, it wasn't because of the defense. And I think there's just a bit of a drop off with that. I don't know. I don't know how official it is. It's just my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, like I said, our defense was kind of set up to fail. Deontay Banks got beat a couple times, I think, by Rashid Shaheed, which is a good matchup for him. I know Rashid Shaheed isn't like a superstar in the NFL, but he has these explosive weeks because he has that speed and elusiveness, which Deontay Banks, like that, if anybody, he should have an advantage on compared to other quarterbacks because of his great athleticism. Like he should be matched up well on him. But I mean, I just think it was just the game plan on both sides, offense too. There's a couple of plays where we had Darren Waller in as a blocking tight end. I know that they don't want to blocking tight end on passing plays, mind you.
Yeah, that's bad. I don't even know if I'd want to
put him on a wide receiver at that point.
I
And
don't
have
even know
Dave
if I really want him blocking on running plays. Find someone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's nice. I think there are certain guys who, like, I don't need. One, they're not good enough to block. I'm sure Waller's okay enough at blocking, but you're
That's
playing
not
a lot.
expertise, you know? Yeah.
They're there to catch the ball. And I think it's rare when you see a guy like George Kittle, who are such a willing blocker, and Mark Andrews, who also can block, and I guess Kelsey's willing too. But like, I don't want them blocking.
Not on a pass play, no.
But not even on a run
when
play.
they're one of your biggest players. I mean, run plays. The reason why I'm okay with it, and even Waller, is that way you're not keying in. Oh, this is definitely a run. You know,
true.
If you take them out during every run play, like defenses are smart enough to read personnel packages and stuff, like which we can get to in a little bit too, because Christian McCaffrey called out your Eagles play on Monday Night Football too.
Yeah, I won't get into that. Not as impressive as people think, but it was definitely embarrassing. We'll get into that. But there is one tidbit to that I think is important to note. But yeah, the only thing I'd just add about, like, I always get nervous when running backs are running behind my best tackles and tight end. So anytime we see like Swift run behind Lane Johnson, a lot of feet there. I don't want them to get tangled up. Lane's a bit of a scare too. I don't want that. I wouldn't want it to happen to Waller or Goddard. And I think that's when you have tight ends who are blocking for the run, you could also find someone who's like the second string tight end to do something like that. But
No, it's true. Even like last week, Mark Lewinsky on that touchdown that Saquon Barkley ran in, like he literally took out the entire offensive line, like a part of his scheme, like, and he just made everybody tumble over, like the entire offensive line, defensive line. It was like, hey, it was successful for that run, but if Andrew Thomas tears an ACL, that's that touchdown was sick, but our next season is fucked. You know, it's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple other things just to mention about this game. I don't know if you were watching the broadcast, but it looked like Madden throughout the entire, like, live, not in the replays, live. They had every single skill player and the defensive players highlighted with their name underneath them, and then they showed their route as they were running it with the line, and it was showing the speed of the ball carrier as the play was happening live. It was so annoying. There was a couple of catches that I thought were drops because I couldn't see because they had the Madden ring underneath them.
Yes.
Like, it was, dude, just don't do that, NFL. Like, you're doing too much. You're wasting your money on that. And I heard Jonathan Vilma, who, like, loved him as a linebacker, hate him as an announcer. He's like, you notice I highlighted him and him and him. So I'm like, oh, that's why it's so obnoxious, because Jonathan Vilma's just, well, that's an important player. I talked to him pregame. It was so bad to watch. Like, I was having like an old fart moment as a young man where I'm like, what the hell are they doing to the game?
That's right. Listen,
it was annoying. It didn't help that we were losing too, but it made it harder to watch.
Do you think that's the reason why the Giants lost?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the way that it was broadcasted was everything. It had nothing to do with the ineptitude of the offensive line, who probably had one of their worst games. I mean, dude, I mentioned this in the preview. The Saints defense is good, but our defensive game plan for Derek Carr, who's been struggling and like has been borderline working his way to becoming a backup quarterback in the league, to have his best game with the Saints, like without Chris Olave too, like Mike Thomas. Not that really matters, but yeah. I think that's enough on the Giants. So.
Yeah, I mean it was, and then Tommy DeVito then curbs that mom and pop's pizzeria place.
No. I don't know if you know this, but
He went, yeah, I saw him. His agent wanted more.
his agent has gotten he's lost his marketing responsibilities, which is crazy because I thought he was doing a good job. But yeah, Tommy DeVito went there for free, for no money, not 10,000, not 20,000, and he posed with the owner's baby, and they actually did
Oh wow!
did a one of these together. Like he took the little owner's baby's hand and made.
So the agent, he's not doing marketing anymore.
Something like that. I don't know. It was in an article that I was reading. I read a lot of these.
He's an Italian American Hall of Famer.
I don't think he take him away. He was just on Part of My Take. I still want to watch that episode, but I'm curious to see how, because I think Sean Stiletto, dude, he's had some big name agents. Alfred Morris.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like I think he's like in the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. I've never heard about the guy before DeVito, but
yeah,
apparently he's been going.
He's been an agent for 10 years.
Yes, wow.
D1 athlete, yeah.
Who else? Who of his clients has he had?
Alfred Morris is. I was reading a list of them, but Alfred Morris.
Alfred Morris, I remember. Wow.
Yeah, he was a Giant and a Commander and a Cowboy, I think, at one point too. Definitely.
Yes. He was okay with Dallas. Remember,
he was good for the Giants when he had to step in. I think that was to Saquon Barkley when he.
Yeah, you probably had him towards the end, then. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was good. He had a couple of good games with us.
Yeah.
But
he's a nice little player.
You want to do Cowboys or Commanders next?
I guess we'll jump into Washington and get the badness out. Washington goes into LA, lose 28-20. They stuck around. I think the big story was Sam Howell exited the game because of Ron Rivera's coaching decision. And as we looked into it, he said it was to protect him and not a benching as a punishment or a punishment essentially. I think we've studied this Washington team a lot this year, more than we should. I think we all both know that they're a very bad team. I think the last few weeks I've been thinking, I don't know how locked in they may be to Sam Howell next year, but I think at this point he'll definitely get a chance to win the job. Maybe he'll even have the job going into training camp, and it's fits to lose. I don't think it's guaranteed though.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. The thing is, like, I believe the Commanders are sitting at pick 4 right now.
Yes.
Pull up, and the Giants, because of the Eagles' loss, actually moved up to pick 7 or 6. Let me double check there. 6 moved up to 6 because we jumped the Jets. Because of strength of schedule. I don't know if that's because the Seahawks got better in our strength. I think it's because the Eagles losing made our strength of schedule worse. Yeah, that's what happened.
I see.
Cool. Okay, so keep losing. But also, if we win, it doesn't matter. But the Commanders, like I said, they're picking at number 4, and like the Cardinals with Kyler Murray, they're feisty. They could win one. They might move it to 3. All it takes is a team like Chicago to be like, you know what, we're going to stick with Justin Fields. We'll take Marv Harrison. Maybe they'll trade out of that spot, and the Commanders being the closest to it. They could even trade with the Commanders and probably still get Marv Harrison. I don't know. Yeah. The only thing that has me thinking that is that they're going to strip down this entire regime. I think Ron Rivera is out. Eric Bieniemy hasn't really done that much to prove that he should be
Well,
I think he maybe gets an interview.
I see. That's where I think I disagree. Like, as much as I hate, as much as I think Washington's a really bad football team, regardless of their stats.
Yeah.
Bieniemy's done a great job. Like, Sam Howell was a top 3 quarterback in yards up until last week, the week before.
He was number 1 for a couple weeks.
Right. Yeah. They've done a good enough job with him, developing him as a starter. Now, they've lost a lot of games, I think, because other defensively, yeah, offensively, there's a reason they're also losing these games offensively too. But I think I would give Bieniemy the go ahead, and maybe it's a short kind of leash where you're like, but I don't know. I think that they've done for as bad as they are.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a good enough job developing a guy like Sam Howell, who I don't think anybody thought was really anything that good going into the season.
Yeah. I mean, I had more faith in him than coming in with Carson Wentz, to be honest. Like, I feel like you hadn't seen what Sam Howell could be.
When Carson first got to Washington?
When Carson first got to Washington.
Okay. Yeah.
After failing in Indy and having
guess, yeah.
I mean, and Sam Howell, like, I think he was sacked one time too. Like, that was like his big thing. Like, he's gotten better. Yeah. I think he was sacked one time. Yeah. He's gotten better at that. And he, like you said, he was taken out of the game more so for his health because it was the fourth quarter or end of the third, whatever. And they were down by 13 points.
Which is stupid.
You're not out of the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's stupid. Like Ron.
Oh, wait. I think it went 28 when it went 28-7. It must have been at the start of the fourth.
But they lost by 8.
Yeah, but Jacoby Brissett came in and scored 2 touchdowns. That's where I think people are really, like, maybe flip the switch on Sam Howell.
Yeah.
It's because Jacoby Brissett comes in there and lights the world on fire.
Brissett's good. He's a good guy.
And almost wins the game. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that shows how much faith they have in Sam Howell, that they never wavered. And also, if they did and they switched to Jacoby, it'd be almost impossible to switch back to Sam.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. But Terry McLaurin, after a game where he had 0 receptions, I think coming off the bye week, I think we both – I think one of us at least predicted that he would have 100 yards because they had to scheme him, get him back in there.
Mm-hmm.
He had the best game of his season by far, 141 yards, touchdown, 6 receptions. I don't know. I think I'm almost certain Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin, aren't they both coming up for contracts?
I'm
just curious to see where this team goes.
Has another year at least, because I think they gave him a pretty favorable deal for the team. Actually, I think Curtis Samuel might be a free agent, and he's pretty intriguing, honestly.
I love Curtis Samuel. I don't even know if he wants to be back on this team.
Yeah.
Like I think he's been great for Washington.
It's a perfect spot for him. Yeah, he's a slot receiver, and he works perfectly in the slot in Washington for sure. But yeah, I don't know if he I don't know where else if he has any.
I'll tell you where he'd be awesome is like the Chiefs. The Chiefs need a receiver.
Yeah,
he would be like he has that like that rushing ability.
He's a running back at Ohio State.
Yeah, I do. I love Curtis Samuel. Again, their defense continues to be atrocious. Deron Payne get after the quarterback. 2 sacks. That's nice to see from Deron Payne. But we've kind of known like Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. Those are their staples. Other than that, just essentially a bunch of nobodies.
They had Chase Young.
And Montez Sweat, who leads the Bears and the Commanders in sacks this year.
Right.
Which is
and the
on the other side. Oh, you go.
No, just the Bears paid him like they should have. So no, I think pass rushing is such a premium in Washington to move by, but we've talked about that, just silliness. Are you really going to draft players that are going to be as competent, as talented as Montez
Sweat?
Young? Probably
with your second round pick and third round pick, no.
Right?
Like I get it, like you're rebuilding, but you want those guys on your team regardless. If you're rebuilding, you're going to be looking for those guys. They're still relatively young.
Yeah,
they could get into a window, but yeah, it's I mean, who knows? With Josh Harris, maybe they're looking for the tank. Maybe they just get that old lineman, and they just keep. I think I've said this before. They just keep riding Sam Howell until they end up either in that position or they build a big enough team where they could allure somebody, or maybe Sam Howell develops. But yeah, this Commanders team I think is pretty unexciting right now. I don't think you're looking at next season, especially after they depleted this defense, like you think they get lucky and wind up at the playoffs, But they're picking in the 4th in the NFL draft right now for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, Hal was just he's never I'd have to look at his completion percentage for the year. I don't think he's ever really been like really really accurate, but against the Rams he was like at like 46% completion.
That's the thing. He's falling apart.
Yeah.
Like he is
It's a long season. I mean,
yeah.
tough
You have your ups and downs. Like it's a week to week thing. Like he showed promise enough where I think maybe you do keep being maybe you keep that consistency. But I thought coming off a bye, maybe they'd be more prepared to give him a game plan to succeed.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I've like I've said, I've kind of given him I've been impressed overall, but I still think there are holes. I think that he has played well enough where it's his job to lose in the offseason and training camp. But he has also showed that you cannot commit to him like a lot of people were a month, 6 weeks ago. You just need consistency. You need to look. You're not getting the consistency that you did from Jalen Hurts last year. It's not just it's every quarterback who seems like it's a year by year thing where they might not be as confident, as effective, as accurate, as successful as they were the previous year.
I mean, Daniel Jones too. Daniel Jones.
Yep.
We give him the money, which I think every Giants fan, even the ones like me who kind of supported him, they kind of supported it. Like, hey, let's keep building off this.
Mm-hmm.
He played so bad this year. He didn't. They gave him more responsibilities. Couldn't add up to it. But I think the Giants are going to quarterback. I know a lot of people think otherwise. I know a lot of Giants fans that don't want to go to quarterback. But I think if we're sitting at 6, you have a pretty good chance of getting somebody like Jaden Daniels. Or maybe Jaden Daniels in this draft process moves up. But that's the thing, too. Like, I could see the Commanders, depending if they do clear house, change their GM. If somebody like Jaden Daniels is sitting there at 4, do you take him?
Yeah.
That's
we
a
conversation
for later on.
We have Rams. We have Bears with the 1 pick. I would think they would stick with Fields at this point, but I don't know. New England at 2 will take a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona at 3 might take a quarterback if they can somehow get off of Kyler Murray.
I think you stick with Kyler. I think he's proved it enough.
I think so too. I just think that if he doesn't like management in Arizona, and it's true that it's not repairable, you move on. But yeah, I do agree with that. Washington at 4. If you take a quarterback at 4, though, how's out?
Yeah. Oh, how's out? Yeah.
Right. So
like, if I'm the GM, I would take like Alusha Fananu, the offensive tackle.
Yes. Yeah.
That everybody loves out of Penn State.
Yes.
Fashanu.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be the pet, but dude, the people who are like, oh, Giants need to go get another O lineman. You understand when we got Evan Neal, he was supposed to be the number 1 pick in that draft.
Yes.
At some point, like at the end of the NFL season, sometime in draft time, it moved, to Trayvon Walker because Jaguars GM is just an idiot. Because Trayvon, that was just so dumb.
Yeah.
But Evan Neal too. He wasn't even the first tackle taken off the board, but I think I was among many Giants players thought that we won the draft getting Evan Neal and Kayvon. Evan Neal has not panned out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way where if we're picking at 6, the Giants too, a lot of people see the top 2 tackles maybe being off the boards and we're stuck with like J.C. Latham. And J.C. Latham, the 3rd tackle, also out of Alabama. Alabama's had great tackles. I like him too. I like Evan Neal, dude. I like Evan Neal. I don't know. At this point, I think you might just get an average offensive tackle, move Neal to I don't know, but
maybe that's the best bet for him. Yeah,
but we're getting off of this. We're in the Commanders. That's what I want to be talking about, though. I'm in draft mode at this point.
It's such a boring team to talk about.
Yeah, let's get into the Cowboys. What a good game, though.
Yeah, I was happy.
Game. America's game of the week. Dallas goes into Buffalo and they lose 10-31 in just like a dominant performance by the Bills, an awful performance by the Cowboys.
Yes.
And a weird game in general. Would you like to start this one off?
Yeah, let's I forget exactly what Dallas scored to get to 10. It was really 31-3, but Dallas will always pile on points when the games are over.
It
In
was the fourth quarter. It was the fourth quarter.
Okay,
Like with 2 minutes left. It was as
exactly.
garbage time as possible.
It's
Yeah.
what they do. They'll do it when they're up a billion against School of the Blind. They'll do it when they're down 60 to a good team. Just what they do. I it's just a culture down there. The
Yeah.
Bills smacked them. They ran the ball really well. James Cook was great. I want to see if I can see any like stats that I highlighted that really stuck out. One of the interesting things was it's bet it's a really bad loss for Dallas because Josh Allen threw the ball 15 times and for 94 yards.
You could. That was, and not only that, he only completed passes to
Yeah.
one wide receiver.
Yep.
The other three completions were to running backs,
Yeah.
and it was to Stephon Diggs, who Trayvon Diggs showed up with his brother, the Cowboys player, who's injured, and kept tweeting, "You got to get out of there." Well, guess what, man? I think I'd rather be in Buffalo right now than Dallas, especially after this week.
Yeah. James Cook 7.2 yards on the ground, 180 yards, a great game. Ty
Over 220, including the receiving too.
Yes, Ty Johnson gave you 6 yards a carry on 9 carries. That helped. It all helps. I mean, they couldn't stop the run, and it's a concerning loss for Dallas because I think that's the worst way to lose it. Just not have a top 10 quarterback game plan for himself like the Bills could have, and just have Buffalo run the ball down their throats for the entire game. It looks like, let me see, 240, 260, around 275 yards on the ground for Buffalo. Concerning loss for Dallas. If you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long rest of the season and a quick way out in the playoffs.
Yeah, especially when you're playing teams like the 49ers. And even though and we'll get to the Eagles, even though you guys lost it this week as well, you have a great line, and DeAndre Swift is no scrub. He's had some great games on the ground. So that might be a game plan. Like you said, I think it's funny. This is just hilarious because like Micah Parsons, when the Giants were getting blown out week 1, he's like, "Man, I just don't know why they even had Daniel Jones in there." Dude, they're losing.
Yep.
2 minutes left in the game, and they're still passing the ball to CeeDee Lamb to get a touchdown.
Yeah, go ahead.
A touchdown. It's just like, why?
It's loser mentality. Dallas has done that for decades. They are such a loser franchise. They're up against us. Oh, at the end of the game, 30. What was it? 30-13. They're up by 3 scores. There's a minute left. It's 4th down. Instead of like taking a knee and giving us the ball at our like 14-yard line to essentially kill clock, they kick a field goal. And it's like, but it's just their mentality is just so off, and it comes to bite them after you get smacked in a major wake up call. That's why I'd never they handled the Eagles well the week before, but this is not a team that's the same on the road. They don't play good football on the road, especially against good teams. They need to be in Dallas, so. A wild outcome in Buffalo. Weather-wise, it's all different than in Fort Worth down there in the Southwest.
Yeah, it's just James Cook dominated. And I love James Cook. He's not even really that physical back either.
No.
He's speedy. He's shifty. It's definitely the best game he's had against his career. But I mean, the Cowboys, like, they're without Leighton Vander Esch, maybe for the rest of his career. They don't really have and I think is Jonathan Hankins, is he still out as well? I think Jonathan Hankins is still out, and Jonathan Hankins is a good run defensive tackle. Mozzie Smith, who they drafted to kind of be that, I feel like did not have the game that he needed against James Cook. And Dak just couldn't get it done. I mean, he threw the ball 34 times and it had 134 yards. You're throwing the ball 34 times for 134 yards, especially a game where, I mean, you needed to be passing the ball from essentially the second quarter. You know, they go up 14-0. You know, obviously you don't want to abandon the run game, but and Tony Pollard actually ran efficiently this game. But Dak Prescott, especially for all of the MVP hype that he acquired last week, that's been kind of building up. I mean, this game single-handedly, I don't see what he could do the rest of the season to overtake somebody like Chris McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Brock Purdy with such an abysmal game like this.
Yeah, I think
that you needed a stronghold to take over the Eagles in the division too. Luckily, the Eagles lost too, but
right.
You know, it's like I think that's not an MVP caliber. No touchdowns, interception, and I believe last week I was like, yeah, it could happen. It was a little trolly.
Yep.
But I mean, I definitely did believe, and now, I mean, is there a chance? Yeah, but I don't think he's on top of anybody's list.
I don't think. Yeah, I think it's. I think I forget who said the stat, but they said like no quarterback from week 13 on has lost by 4 points or more and won the MVP or something. And it's like, wow, that's pretty accurate. But I don't think you could give it to him.
It's a recency thing too. Like you
no
could
doubt.
be the best quarterback for the first 8 weeks, and then you could be like middling and still kind of overall be. But I think it's a recency award, the MVP too. It's what are you doing at the end of the season when the voters are putting votes in?
Vegas is the lines change every game, which impacts it. Yeah, no doubt.
Anything else you want to get into? I mean, with this game, any other notes?
It's just a smackdown. I remember glancing back at the score here and there, always getting worse, and you're like, wow. It's just wild how different they are on the road. Maybe you could even point to officiating. I don't know, but they need the playoffs to go through Dallas, and it's not going to. San Francisco has a tiebreaker against them. They're also not going to finish with a better record than San Francisco either. So, that's just even to get a chance to beat San Francisco, most likely, in Dallas ultimately. So, yeah, not good for them.
Yeah, but let's get into somebody who also will probably have to go through San Francisco.
Yes,
the Philadelphia Eagles. Your Philadelphia Eagles go to Seattle, and aside from looking pretty abysmal throughout the game, not terrible, but looking sloppy, looking clunky.
Not looking great. Yeah,
you guys lose it in the final minutes to Drew Lock, 20-17.
Yes,
I'll let you take the mic. I think you need to.
A few things to note before, or I guess it's all starting now. Being completely honest, and I said this before the game, Drew Lock is not as big of a downgrade from Geno Smith as a lot of people probably thought. Now, you still can't lose to Drew Lock. He's got a big arm. He has weapons. He has decent experience. He's not an awful quarterback. He has some ability. Second thing I want to say, the Eagles threw a bomb to Quez Watkins at the goal line with 8 minutes left, up 3. There was clearly pass interference on your guy Julian Love, not called. That's a game.
Oh no.
That's the game essentially. If they call it, which they should have, Eagles would have scored a touchdown, gone up 10 with 7 minutes left. I would have felt. I think the odds there, you're winning that game.
But at the same time, yes, you could say whatever you want. But Julian Love had an interception prior. Julian Love is just on fire. He knows the United States. But what you could really say is that Jalen Hurts shouldn't have been throwing that bomb.
I agree.
They had enough time. They could have kept marching down the field meticulously.
Well, the issue,
And with Jake Elliott, with that leg that he has, there was a lot of opportunities. A lot of different ways you could have gone about that. And I don't know if that was Jalen Hurts taking the bomb. I doubt that came from the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think they moved the ball. There was, I think, around 8.5 minutes left, and they were moving the ball pretty well to get to, I think, Seattle's 45. I didn't mind the shot. I wouldn't have done it. It's 1st and 10. Just keep on taking the chunk yards you've been getting, the first downs. I like that. It was methodical. It's working. It's not the worst thing to take a shot there because you sort of can, but you can't underthrow the ball like Hurts did. And it was underthrown.
And also to a guy like Quez Watkins, you've said this yourself.
Yes.
Like, you're taking the game-winning shot.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm going to Quez Watkins.
That too. I believe so. I've said.
I think maybe he saw a safety on him and Julian Love, but Julian Love got that interception prior in a very similar way.
Yes. I'll preface it, and I'll say from every angle I can. It absolutely was pass interference, and it wasn't called, and it probably would have been the game. But you don't throw the ball as a quarterback. You don't throw the ball to Quez Watkins because he's not going to catch it. You, as a quarterback, you're responsible for who you throw the football to. If you keep throwing the football to someone who isn't going to make a play, bad things are going to happen. And that's the thing what's happened with Quez Watkins. Anytime the ball's gone towards him, bad things happen. He doesn't box out. I think it was tough. There are a lot of times where he's given up interceptions because he doesn't box out when he has the time, and he always jumps when he doesn't have to. I think he was held pretty decently where it would have been tough to box out. But I don't know, maybe even just grab Love for offensive pass interference because it would have been it was a pick and it would have been a pick regardless. So maybe do that. Yeah,
I mean, there's some times where committing a penalty is.
I agree. That would have been one of the times because it was ultimately intercepted. Underthrown ball, bad on Hurts. Hurts was bad. Very bad game. Under the weather. He's been
bad.
He's been
under the flu, but
he's been under the weather at least 2 times already this year. Last year, I think he had 1, and I think the year before he had. So he's kind of
vitamin C, dude. Get this guy some airborne, man.
I was gonna say get him emergency.
Give him
stuff pop that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, get a flu shot. But he was awful, and I think this is the worst fear that Eagles fans have had is everybody was last year, sucks you lost the Super Bowl, but Hurts is only going to get better. And I'm telling people at the time, I don't need him to be better. What Jalen Hurts was last year, elite. I'll take that anytime. It's
borderline MVP.
Consistency that I want because that's hard. That's hard for someone like him who's not a traditional pocket passing quarterback who you can rely on his arm to lead you as a quarterback. The feet, the health, it all is relevant, and he's been a shell of what he was last year, to say the least. He was bad.
There hasn't been any really, maybe 1 or 2 impressive performances this whole season. And other than that, it's been middling and...
It depends on what you're looking for. He's played some smart... The Washington game at home, he played well. Against Miami, he played well. On the road in the Rams, he played well. There have been games where he's played well, but not yet. Nothing
nothing dominant. Nothing that jumps out to you. Jalen Hurts is the reason why you guys are dominating that game.
He hasn't put together 4 good quarters this year.
Yeah.
He's put together halves that are great, but So, it's been a concern. It's play hasn't been good enough, and it's concerning because you have a lot of talent on this offense that is better than what they're showing. And we only throw the ball to A.J. Brown, sometimes Devontae Smith. It's a little predictable. It also doesn't help that your quarterback doesn't throw the ball to the backup tight end who is open, the third-string tight end who has been open. And, he just has to be a better passer. Better in the pocket. Can't leave the pocket the first second. And that's the thing. The offensive line and pass protection was phenomenal against Seattle, which was great to see. But it doesn't matter when Hurts leaves the pocket within a second of it being hiked or snapped. So
it doesn't. No, it doesn't make sense. But hey, you know what? Him leaving the pocket resulted in his best rushing day of the season.
Yeah, he ran the ball pretty well.
But that's awesome. He had 82 rushing yards. Tommy DeVito had 71 last week.
Yeah.
It's great. I think it's obviously a weapon that you want to have, and not want to, but it's like a luxury. But when you're throwing 2 interceptions and not passing a single touchdown and leaving so much on the field, your legs are just.
He's a little different. Where I think when it comes to traditional like elite runners, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, I think their rushing yards over someone like I don't know, like who's
Josh Allen.
He's more of he's one of them. Like I think those rushing yards for those quarterbacks are more meaningful than other quarterbacks who rush, who are traditional rushers, like DeVito said.
Patrick Mahomes is somebody who can get some good scramble yards too.
He can.
You don't look at Patrick Mahomes as a scrambler, even.
No, they don't want him for that either. Yeah, so it's different. It's hard to compare. He ran the ball well, but he also doesn't see the field that well in terms of passing, which is a big concern in the NFL. You have to be able to go through different reads, different options, be patient, trust your players. Something he did a great job of last year, and this year it hasn't been there. Consistency, it's tough. It's amazing how Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, how we went through like a decade and a half of quarterbacks who are like elite every year.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts isn't that. I'd say right now he's definitely not a top 5 quarterback this year, just based on this year alone.
Yeah, it's tough. He's still the issue. Yeah,
I'm not saying who you take moving forward.
No.
I think you see,
I
but
agree.
this year alone,
I think going forward, I think he's still in the top 5, top 7 at the worst, just because he is dangerous when everything's figured out. Even when he's like at 85% because of his ability to run, because of his decently enough accuracy, even for this year, he's still that dangerous. But yeah, it's they've won a lot of games this year, but they let Seattle off the hook. It's bad. It's a bad loss. I couldn't believe the next day they lost that game. And Seattle didn't do anything well. They had control the entire game. The Eagles didn't play well really the second half, but like they still had control. You felt like they had control enough, and you would have taken it. Would have snapped a 2-game losing streak. It's tough to go on the road in the Northwest like Seattle. The win's a win, but close, but no cigar.
Yeah, no cigar, and man, Drew Lock though. On the other side, you have to say, dude, Drew Lock, it's exciting to see him win. You always it sucks that it was against your Eagles for you, but like, dude, I mean, I almost teared up listening to him in the post game.
I remember. Yes, I didn't go that far, believe it or not. Especially for him being.
You probably turned it off.
Especially for him being a Missouri grad. Yes, I did turn it off. I said 5-7 minutes ago. The drop off between him and Geno Smith is not that much.
I mean, they're very similar. They're both quarterbacks that were discussed and almost taken in the first, early second round quarterbacks that had the skill set, didn't really put it together mentally, but they always had the physical attributes. And it's crazy because like the last like written off quarterback, like it's almost exactly Geno Smith. And Geno Smith, like I remember when he won that game on Monday Night Football too. He said, they wrote me off, but I didn't run back. That was week 1 of last year. That was like, dude, everybody uses that now. It's beautiful. But Drew Lock was just heartfelt. Like, it was good to see him. Like, and he had a good game passing the ball. Like, and he spread it out. It's not like he was just relying on one receiver. I think something that we do have to talk about is Matt Patricia took over play calling.
Yes.
For you guys this week. I think that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia, RPI legend, lived in the same dorm frat room as my brother at RPI, whatever, different years obviously. But Matt Patricia, great. I I thought that he called a decent game,
Deep
but
until the end, until the last drive.
until the last drive where
Yeah,
James Bradbury
I
was on
agree. Yeah.
coverage. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure all 5 passes, which were all completions,
Yep.
were all on James Bradbury.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he and they're not going to. There's nothing they can do about it either, because if they cut him, it's $12 million in cap next year. I think
Mhm.
9 the year after. Oh, he is such a disaster. You got to go to one of
But
the.
he was great last year.
He
He
was.
was great for you guys last
He
year.
did drop off a little at the end of the year, which
At the end, the Super Bowl,
yeah, which
cost you a Super Bowl, but
yeah, I don't know how great that call was, but yeah, I almost want to go to a bad team and say, listen, Chicago, I don't need anything. Give me your 7th round pick in 2036. I'll try to return the favor later if we're bad and you guys are good. Just take Bradbury and take his contract. But
otherwise, I mean, I don't see you guys investing because, dude, I mean, we could go into this because this goes into next season, but this might be the last year for a lot of your superstars that have been anchors on this team.
Might be a good thing because, again, it sort of seems like with this Eagles team is like you're getting close to like guys who are too old. They're still staying with the team who shouldn't be, even though Fletcher.
Lane Johnson is still great, and that
Jason
Kelce,
not him, not
that Jason Kelce freaking false start. Like Jason Kelce is still a great.
Oh my god!
They
don't. So they go over that rule and they go, yeah, it's technically illegal, but I've never seen that called before. They've never made that call during an NFL game. And now they're just like, I get like that.
It's the Patrick Mahomes thing. It happened with the Chiefs game, and now they're just calling it all over.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, those guys. And Fletcher Cox has been great. He's probably been the 2nd best player on defense this year for the Eagles for what he's given you after Hassan Reddick. So, but other guys like Bradbury,
even Darius Slay,
Brandon Graham. Slay's been good. Slay's been weird. It stinks that he's a cornerback 1 kind of guy, but I'll take what he's given you this year. He doesn't get beat big. He doesn't really give he's weird. I've been okay with Slay, but I wish he were a little better. Like it would be nice if he were a little better than what he's been giving you. But yeah, Bradbury, he's killed in a bad way.
Yeah. Anything else you want to get to before we move on to the Week 16?
Yeah, I mean, this game, oddly enough, I could talk about for days. I remember.
Me too. There's enough.
They had one chance. They had 15 yards. They had Kenny Gainwell on the flat. Mm-hmm. 2 timeouts left around midfield. You have the best kicker probably in the NFL, arguably, and you go deep in double coverage to A.J. Brown. I don't think he got his 2nd foot down for the interception. There's still only like 9 seconds left, so I don't know how much of a difference it would have made. I don't think he got his 2nd foot down. Just a dumb play. You can't make that throw. I don't. There's part of me where I think that like Jalen Hurts is really petty, and people always say Hurts can't ever take a check down pass because they're always going to think of him as a game manager and a check down quarterback. And then I think he thinks, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm never going to take the check down, even though it's there. Even though Tom Brady made a career for 20-plus years of taking the check down, which was smart. He won a lot of Super Bowls doing that. And,
it's about being smart in the right time. And you could say he has a flu. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it has some correlated flus with going mad. I mean, a couple of those decisions were.
Well, I'll tell you what. There was someone, they shed a light. Maybe it was the flu. Maybe it wasn't. There was a guy, initials MJ, who had something wrong with him during a finals game, and it's referred to as the flu game.
Yeah, I'm aware.
The first drive, the Eagles had a great drive. They got 7. I go, this is Jalen Hurts' flu game, and it might have been his flu game in the opposite way. It just awful. I mean, it is such an awful performance from him. So bad.
Okay, I think we have to end this one here. After this 3-game skid.
Yes.
Do you believe in the Eagles Super Bowl?
I don't think they're the contender that I thought. I think if Christian McCaffrey can break his leg. Not now because I'm in the semifinals for fantasy with him.
Good for you. Congrats.
Thank you. If McCaffrey can get hurt, then again, I'm not saying I want it, but I think there are things that have to go their way. I still think there's a very
Like the
distant
49ers
shot
losing
just because of just because like the talent wise I think there's enough, but it's faint. I'll tell you that they're gonna need some help. They might need.
If you do believe in the Eagles, I think that was probably the best time to bet their Super Bowl odds all season.
That is true, and I still think there is a chance, a realistic chance, oddly enough. But it's not like what I thought it was a few weeks ago. I'll say that. Not as close.
Yeah, especially because we're about to get into these previews, but I guess we'll start with the first one of the week, huh? You ready?
Yes.
This is probably, man, one of the most fun games that we're going to watch all season because we're definitely watching it on Christmas Eve at the 1 o'clock slate. The Commanders go to the Jets. The Jets, who I'm almost certain will not be starting Aaron Rodgers because their season is essentially over.
They should be penalized too. Not to get into this, they opened up Aaron Rodgers' 21-day window. There's no chance he was playing, but yeah.
I think that they did that for the team to maybe fight and give him a shot, but I mean after they lost 27-0 to the Dolphins, yeah.
This man tore his Achilles and is 49 years old. There's no shot. He's out.
Oh, 30-0 by the Dolphins. Yeah. Yeah, that was honestly, this is a game. It's going to MetLife. The Commanders have not had luck at MetLife. Not much. But Sam Howell, who was taken out last game because the game was over and they wanted to conserve his health.
Yes.
Not because he's bad, even though he was playing pretty poorly. It's half before my draft odds, but I think this is one of those games like you saw like the Panthers steal one from the Falcons.
Yes.
There's no reason why the Commanders can't steal this from the Jets. Like you could say their Jets defense are elite. I think the Jets are also just like I think they're a team that's given up. I'm gonna go quick through this because I don't think too many people care about the predictions for this Commanders game. But I'm gonna go Commanders 17, Jets 10. For you, Jeremy.
I'm thinking very similarly, Sean. Especially if Trevor Siemian plays.
Oh, is it Trevor Siemian?
Yeah, because I think if Zach Wilson has a concussion, he's got to clear it.
Yes, that's true. And he played on that concussion because his mom was defending him. Man, I would be so pissed if my mom took to Instagram to defend me and then that got out to all the major newspapers. It wasn't my agent. It was my mom defending me for why I played like garbage. Oh, man.
Also, Zach, not an expert, pretty stupid to play on a kick. I mean, this stupid. Like, I don't stupid.
It might be one of his last opportunities, but like, dude, I mean, I played high school football. They used to show the videos of people who played on concussions and then got one more hit.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna. It's sad what happens to some people who
absolutely. Two really bad teams, but I think Washington's going to go in there, and I think if Sam Howell plays offensively, the Jets still I think are good defensive unit.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not betting the Commanders by any means.
No one has to lose, exactly.
Yeah.
This is a 0-0 tie. I'm going to go 10. Either 10-6 or 10-9 Washington.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. And I hope it is Trevor Siemian. Please, dude. Please.
It might be.
I would. Oh man, I need a Commanders win, dude. I need it, dude. I need it. Would love to see it. I am rooting for the Commanders. Bold predictions. I'll tell you what. Sam Howell has not been getting the passing yards he has, and I don't see that changing for the Jets.
Right.
Brian Robinson, I think, should be back from his concussion because Christian Rodriguez and Antonio Gibson didn't really do much on the ground. But you know what? I think I have to go old reliable. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Curtis Samuels continues his touchdown streak, scores a touchdown, and is the second leading receiver for no. You know what? Second leading scrimmage yards guy for the Commanders. I'm going safe here. What are you thinking?
Combines over 4.5 turnovers between both teams. I wanted to go over 5.5. That's very big. I'll say over 4.5 combined turnovers from both teams.
You think is Emmanuel Forbes playing again? I want to see Emmanuel Forbes. I want to see Emmanuel Forbes pick 6, dude.
Wow.
I want it, dude. I'm rooting for Forbes. I'm rooting for him. And I'm also rooting for the Giants draft pick. So win.
Yes, I see with that. Yeah, I'll go over 4.5 turnovers.
All right. So I think this is. I mean, obviously, the finale that we'll get to is the most exciting game. But I think for the rest of the NFL world, unanimously, this is probably one of the best matchups going on in Week 16. So that's the Dallas Cowboys going to Miami, both at 10-4. Miami just crushed the Jets, the aforementioned Jets. The Cowboys, who were hot, and everybody thought, man, it's these guys are the Niners that are going to take the NFC, get demolished by the Bills. And although the Bills defense is like known for always being a great defense, this Miami defense is not a joke. Like this Miami defense is good at every level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody can agree their offense is probably tied with the 49ers with the most dominant offense in the league.
Yep.
So, and it's in Miami.
Yep.
I am going to go. I'm just going to take this off rip. I think that the Cowboys are going to have a little bit of juice, but I don't care. I think that this Miami team, who everybody is also saying only beats bad teams, same thing with the Cowboys until they beat your Eagles. Yeah, but I'm going to go Dolphins 27, Cowboys 21. Cowboys 21.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking here?
I'll go Dolphins. Dolphins 33. Dallas 27-28. Not sure which one. I'll go 28.
28? Okay, yeah. Yeah, they'll probably want to, yeah. Okay, I like that. So similar. Like one score game.
Yep.
Essentially. As it should be. Same records. Both have shown dominance and weakness throughout their seasons. But I just feel like the Dolphins are a little hotter, especially because they're at home. They get that little edge. I'm going to go bold prediction. Not that bold, but I will say CeeDee Lamb scores another touchdown. I feel like he's finding the end zone quite a bit this season. And then I'm going to go Jalen Waddle, 75 yards receiving. That's not that bold, but I'm just that seems more like a parlay I'm doing. But
yes, I would say if Tyreek Hill plays over 425 yards worth, over 450 yards of offense.
Okay, I love that actually.
And Dolphins have good secondary, unless anyone's injured. And I'll go. Dak will throw for 3 touchdowns. Ferguson will have a touchdown, and Cooks will have a touchdown.
Okay. Do you agree with my Lamb touchdown, or are we saying that's a trifecta?
Trifectas are hard for me to predict, but I'll say short. It'll be a trifecta. And the third quarterback will be a Lamb touchdown.
Okay. Yeah. I do. Breaking news. I don't know if you saw this. The Ndamukong Suh might side with the Dolphins ahead of the Dallas game in play.
Interesting. I love that as an Eagles fan. He's sort of in that part of his career where he can take off. You know, he can't play a full season, but can train enough, get in enough shape to add on to a winner like he did with the Eagles last year. So if we're seeing it again, he's probably picking a decent enough team to go with in Miami. So interesting.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah.
Him and Christian Wilkins, and then they have that other really dude, Zach Sealer, who's been really good for him.
Never hurts to have a lot of guys at defensive line that you can rotate in and out of either.
And they lost Jalen Phillips off the edge for the season too. Sucks because I like Jalen Phillips. But let's get to the game everybody's actually. Everybody wants to see. Christmas Day, man. Christmas Day. The 4:30 middle slot game. Perfect. Get to open your presents. I know I will. I'm going to be opening my presents. I'm going to be with my family. This will be the second game I've gotten to see with my family all season. Not in Philly, because the last time me and my brother went to Philly for the game, you know, I almost got murdered by a cyborg, and my brother couldn't see for a week and a half because of bleeding from his eye from such a great fan base in Philadelphia. Which, by the way, I do have those Christmas photos. Maybe that's what I should make the Instagram thing.
That'd be kind of funny
for the Christmas tree. Tommy DeVito loses a little Jersey juice, but pretty close to Jersey, being in Philly. What's the over under on Tommy DeVito's agent going to the game? What's the over under on him getting a snowball thrown at his head?
Yeah, if it isn't snowing on Christmas Day, which it really hasn't ever in Philadelphia in a long time, there will be people who will make ice or fake snow. They will bring it to the stadium and they will chuck it at him.
Listen, this is going to be a fun game no matter what. It sucks that the Giants' magic ran out. I think if we beat the Saints handedly, I think that this would be a much more anticipated game.
Probably, maybe.
On this losing streak. Giants, if they were still on the winning streak. The Eagles had a number all season last season, aside from that last game that didn't really count when Kenny Galladay got that nice touchdown on Darius Slay.
Right.
But in the playoffs, we got walloped. We got walloped by the Eagles.
Yeah, 0-3 for the Giants last year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, you were rooting for the Giants against the Vikings.
No. We faced off 3 times last year.
Yeah. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. Well, not really for us because we got, like I said, 0-3. I don't know. I'm just going to say it because guess what? I don't care if people hold it against me. I'm going to say Giants 21, Eagles 17. Bam! Put it out there. Yeah. I'm drinking some eggnog, dude, for Santa because Santa's coming with some sacks, and they're probably coming on Tommy DeVito because our line sucks. But
I'll tell you what, the Eagles haven't really been getting to the quarterback that much. Defensively, they looked better last week, but not amazing as a whole. I think, all joking aside, I think the issue with the Giants is offensively they're just such a mess. I think they're like 30th or 31st or maybe dead last in offense.
Pretty bad, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I don't know how pretty it's going to be for the Eagles. We'll see. Maybe it's some way of a come get right game in a way. 28-13, 31-13 Eagles.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the spread is at like 16 points right now, too.
I bet it'll go down, though.
Definitely double digits.
Yeah, it might go down a little. We'll see.
But yeah, bold predictions. I'm going to go. Oh, man.
Giants score.
Score a touchdown?
Just score in general.
Score. Yeah, no. I think. I think maybe you know what, dude. I feel like your linebacker play has been kind of cheeks pass coverage wise, right?
Who, the
I feel
Eagles?
like yeah,
It might be the worst I've ever seen at any level of football.
yeah. I think Darren Waller actually has a big day. I think Darren Waller has 75 and a touchdown.
That would be a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that, and I will take. I'm gonna take one for you, and I don't even want to say this, dude, but I think Jalen Carter has another sack. I feel like Jalen Carter. Well,
Yeah, he had a big sack against Seattle that I didn't mention too. And it's a shame they lost because it was such a timely one as well. Yeah, listen, I'll take it for Carter.
yeah, yeah. I would actually probably put betting money on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like our guards have just, especially if Pugh's playing, who knows? Maybe they give up on Pugh and they change it again and throw Glowinski back in there.
Yeah.
Who knows? But between Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter, I'm like a weak Justin Pugh. John Michael Schmitz. It's not like he's playing badly, but he's
Right.
definitely not. Yeah, he hasn't been playing like a lights out center,
Yeah.
as a rookie. So yeah, I guarantee Fletcher Cox and or Jalen Carter gets a sack. But I'll let you take it away with your bold predictions here.
I guess Devontae and AJ Brown will each have a score, and the Eagles will actually have over 4.5 sacks on the day. So I think they'll have at least 5.
Yeah, not bold, really, but
this team does not get. I don't care what. Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know, dude. The Commanders, after trading Chase Young and Montez Sweat, I believe had 6.
Well, you've seen some of the Eagles rushers. They just run right into the guys across from them and do nothing. They just hold each other.
Which, hey, you know what? I'll take, dude. I'll take, because honestly, if we do want Tommy DeVito to have a fighting chance, I feel like he needs to have some time and have some explosive plays.
Yeah, I'll say absolutely.
Which, hey, dude, with your pass defense right now, I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah. No Slay. Slay being out hurts, and Bradbury having to play hurts. So yeah.
This is gonna be a very fun game. Regardless, I don't care. It'll be fun. Even if we could just have some good plays against you, I'll take it. Giants football on Christmas doesn't happen all the time. We had a fun matchup last year on Christmas Eve against the Vikings, which we ultimately lost, but it was a very close game all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, usually around that time is when I start checking out and getting too drunk, so it'll probably be perfect time on Christmas to be watching the Eagles.
I may or may not be in the building, by the way, so we'll see.
Oh shit! If you are, dude, you should be. Make sure you're getting all the angles.
I'll try to see what I can get going. See if I can get some snowballs going. Get the arm loose a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting ready. I know you Eagles fans, dude. You guys, I guarantee there's gonna be a couple of paisans that turn into middle finger celebrations. I guarantee it.
I do hope if it could, like, the Eagles are smacking the Giants at the end of the game, if someone just throws like a meatball and it hits
DeVito or Sean Stiletto?
DeVito's agent. Oh,
Sean Stiletto,
yeah, Stiletto, yeah, that would be hilarious. That would just be hilarious.
Hey, you know what, dude? I think regardless, the hate between these two teams, even though the Giants have been losing, I think that there's still a lot of unity in that locker room. I think, like, if there's some offense given by the Eagles, the Giants are going to take that and they're going to fight back. Yeah, the Giants have been scrappy all year, and the Eagles are always scrappy.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah. They
over under on a fight between players. Over on a fight between fans. I mean, fucking, I put my life savings. I put my life on that. That's happening. That is happening.
I'm not proud of that. It gets out of hand for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are so mean.
Listen, it's actually a fan base that's getting softer, believe it or not.
Yeah, all those hipsters from Fishtown.
That's right. That's right. Pick up an Eagles hat for the first time after you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. But I think it's time to wrap this up. It's been a good week. We're all a bunch of fucking losers. We're all losers this week. But that won't be the case next week. There might be some tires. Imagine that Giants-Eagles tie. Man, I'd love to see it.
That's gotta be funny.
It'd help with our draft. It'd also help with us knocking you down a pedestal. So I think that's what I'm rooting for majorly is the tie, to be honest.
Unreal.
That means extended.
It does kind of hurt you a little bit in the draft,
Yeah, it would.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's better than, well, I don't know. I hope we win. I don't care, dude.
Okay.
Like, yes, I'm talking all this draft stuff, but dude, like, I want to kick your fucking ass. It'll be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. But yeah. Well, Jeremy, do you have anything you want to say before we close this one out?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We are the Beasts of the NFC East. As always, that's Jeremy Goode. I'm Sean Gnitzcavich. Thanks for watching, and we will see you later. I don't know if I like that.
Leave it.